So Scott Mills sat down from BET, sat down with Gail Mitchell over at Billboard, and they had a conversation about BET's 45-year legacy.
He's the CEO of BET,
Yes,
right?
CEO of BET, yes. And they had a conversation about the legacy of 45 years of BET. Now, within the conversation, they talked about a ton of different things, but one of the major things that came out of this interview was we learned that the BET Hip Hop Awards and the BET Soul Train Awards are going to, or right now, are suspended. So Gail Mitchell asked Scott if he can confirm the chatter, because there have been conversation about two of BET Award shows, the Soul Train and the Hip Hop Awards, no longer happening. So he says that, he wouldn't say that it's, not happening. He says that right now, as of right now, they are suspended. But basically what they're trying to figure out at BET is how do they bring or do these award shows in a way where it fits where the media landscape is today, because it might not mean that the Hip Hop Awards or the Soul Train Awards have to be on linear TV. But he does say that they are not gone. I know yesterday, I saw a conversation around the awards being completely gone and canceled. Yeah. He says in this article, they are not going. They're just trying to find a way to rework it so that it fits where we are now. And when he says that, they had already previously had a conversation about like the other ventures that BET has. So whether it's BET Plus or, BET Digital, where do they put the award show so that they work out better? Now, she follows up this question when asking about the 2025 BET Awards, because when this year's BET Awards went down, although the show was amazing, the ratings were a lot lower than they were last year. So there had been conversation about the BET Awards being canceled as well, and because of the viewership. So she says viewership dropped almost 50% in a key demographic, which is 18 years old to 49 years old, from last year's show. She asked Scott Mills, does he have any concerns about the longevity of the BET Awards? And he says viewership was down, but the cable ecosystem is smaller, number one, than it was a year ago. And that's just the reality of it. But he also says that a lot of it has to do with the fact that last year they changed the BET Awards from the Sunday that it's always on to a Monday. Now, when that change was announced, people were confused because it's always on that certain Sunday. I think it's like the third Sunday in June. People were confused and people were wondering why. So I did some poking around yesterday to try and figure out, because he didn't answer the question as to why it was moved around. He just said that they were going to bring it back. They're going to take it back to the original Sunday. But the show was good. He gave a big props to Connie Orlando, said, they did an amazing job this year with the show, but we can't get around what happened. And from what I was told, the reason why it was moved around was because there was a huge sporting event that was happening at that time that they couldn't work, like they needed certain venues, and they used the JW Marriott Hotel and different venues, and they didn't have access to the things that they needed, so they had to move the day. I was confused about that because I'm like, a show as big as the BET Awards, I thought you would book out the venues you need for years at a time, probably. Correct. Yeah. And what I was told was that sometimes people do that, but because, again, the landscape of things are changing every single day, it's hard to predict what will and what won't happen a year from now, 2 years from now. So
Salute to Scott Mills, but I don't know why he's complicating this. These shows just aren't making no money.
Yeah.
Like that's just the moral of the story. The reality of the situation, none of these shows are making the money they need to be on. It's just that simple. If these shows were making money and if these shows were profitable, these shows, it would be no question about none of these award shows. They'd be on.
Not only that, you look at the Hip Hop Awards, and if you don't have the top 5 hip hop artists coming to your show, and you're doing a hip hop award show, that kind of hurts as well, right? Yeah. Whoever your top 5 award, your top 5 rappers are. If you don't have Kendrick performing or Drake performing or Future or Travis Scott or whoever the top 5 is that people say, if they're not at your hip hop award show, it's kind of like, you want to see that represented. And we've seen it represented. We've seen Michael Jackson at these award shows when it was time for those award shows. We've seen Hove, we've seen Dre, we've seen Snoop, we've seen Nas, we've seen T.I., we've seen our big celebrities.
Envy makes a great point, because the reality of the situation is artists treat these award shows like they're disposable, and they don't come to them, but they'll go to all the white award shows, and that's why the white award shows still get the viewership, and that's why the white award shows still get the sponsorships, because they get the eyeballs. If the top artists came to these shows, they would get the eyeballs, and they'd still be getting the money. But if you do that for years, they've been ignoring, the BET Hip Hop Award and Soul Train Awards for years. If the top artists ignore those shows for years, eventually people stop watching, and the money dries up. It's not rocket science, people.
Yeah, you want to see your favorite artists. Your favorite artists are not there. The biggest artists are not there performing. You're less likely to watch it. But if I know my favorite artist, the biggest artist, Kendrick, is going to be performing, or this one, you're going to watch. But those artists not performing.
That'll help with the sponsorships.
Yeah, and he also talked about too. BET went through a huge round of layoffs recently as well too, and he talked about just the money being different over there. BET has been at this for a very long time, and the money has been different. Placing advertisers is different as well too because of the things that you guys are talking about. I think across the industry we're seeing a lot of this, but I do think we're impacted a lot differently because the fight for money is different for us. Sky Mills talked about that when he was up here on the Breakfast Club as well. But yeah, I saw a lot of people upset yesterday and, kind of like, woe was us and we need these platforms, but people don't support
Give
those
the people
shows.
what they want.
People don't support
You know
those
what's so
shows.
crazy? They always act upset when something is gone. But when it's here, you defecate on it every chance you get. When it's on, you trash the award shows when they on, and you say that the award show is trash and blah blah blah. But then when it's gone, you upset.
Yeah, and you know what
You
else?
got to start. You got to stop treating your culture like it's disposable, but then get mad when it's disposed of.
We haven't been having a conversation about too with this whole CBS thing and the Skydance merger and all that is BT being over there, and a lot of their content is going to be heavily impacted too if what we see is happening is actually happening with things being censored. They in the article, Gail Mitchell asked Scott Mills about that, and he says that he's not going to speak to potential corporate outcomes because he's just going to basically like steadfast and stay focused. But how do you not be so scared and so nervous if you're BET under all of this censorship that we're seeing over at CBS and Paramount and all the places? Like
BET ain't got no live programming.
No, but they have.
BET not doing nothing that need to be censored. Who on BET is saying is making a stand or saying anything that's going to shake?
Maybe not daily, but like when voting time happens,
sisters. Sisters is gonna really rile some people up.
When BET does like their voter programs and like the go get out and vote, like they do take times when they do certain things where they're shooting back and they're running content that's in not in support of Donald Trump. They might not get as vulgar, but they do their small things to try and like push.
BET censors themselves and sometimes in ways that they shouldn't. I mean, you look at people were so excited to see Chris Brown do Michael Jackson, they censored him. The thing that they censor themselves, like,
and they do bad censorship too. You be watching BET and they be like mother fryer fring. Like what?
Mother fryer ate a Frankfurter. Like, well, come on.
He was like, what the hell just happened?
Crazy.
Well, however they bring those shows back, and there's no timeline yet, but however they bring those shows back, please tune in. So
if the money ain't there, the shows ain't gonna be there. It's really just that simple. If they can't get the sponsorships and get the money to be there, the show's not gonna be there. That's all. But like what Envy said earlier is true. If you get the best artists in the game to start showing up to these shows, more eyeballs will be on these shows. Yep. These shows will go viral more. You figure out the digital component, and the sponsorships will come back. Maybe.
That's right.
But right now the money's dried up.
And that is the latest with Loren. All right. Now, when we come back, we got front page news. More going to be joining us, and then BMX professional rider Nigel Sylvester will be joining us, and we'll kick with him in a little bit. So don't go anywhere. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?